Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Recently, in hearing the term inflation used in the media and by consumers, it often seems as if there's two entirely different conversations happening simultaneously. I have finally figured out this is exactly the case. My eyes were opened when I read a May 26, 2024 Axios article by Mike Allen, The New Inflation. Apparently, the definition of inflation has been changed by half the country. In our world of alternative facts, this shouldn't surprise me as much as it has. As an economic and finance professional, when I discuss inflation, I'm using its long standard definition, which is the gradual loss of purchasing power reflected by a broad rise in prices for goods and services. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, calculated by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is designed to measure inflation as the average change over time in the prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. It provides a snapshot of the rate at which prices are rising or falling on a year-to-year basis. For a quarter century between 1983 and 2008, the CPI remained pretty stable, generally aligning with the current figure of around 3.3%. This historical perspective is crucial for economists who argue that today's inflation rate is not alarmingly high, but it's within a normal range. So it's in that context I've been frequently astonished by the claims in the media and by right-leaning politicians and by consumers that inflation is high. The reality, as measured by the CPI, simply doesn't support this assertion. So in his article, Allen emphasized a critical shift in the public's perception of inflation. So while economists continue to rely on traditional metrics like the CPI, many Americans have started using inflation to mean high prices. The term's now been commandeered and redefined to a point where the word inflation now means different things to different people. When the average person mentions inflation today, they might be thinking of an overall increase in prices since a significant event, say, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Axios article, many people perceive inflation to be around 19.3%. which reflects the cumulative price increases over the past few years. In contrast, financial professionals and economists adhering to the CPI think of inflation as approximately 3.4% annually. This is a stark contrast, and it's pivotal in understanding why there's such a disconnect between public sentiment and official statistics. This discrepancy between expert definitions and the public's perception really mirrors other shifts in terminology. And there are shifts in both economic and political discourse. For example, I've written previously about the way the terms socialism and capitalism have also been subject to significant reinterpretation by the public. In its popular usage, anti-socialism often translates to opposition against higher taxes and extensive or big government services, rather than a rejection of the traditional definition involving state ownership of the means of production. Similarly, criticisms of capitalism frequently target perceived abuses such as greed and corruption, rather than the fundamental principles of free markets and private ownership. In fact, a lot of people think capitalism creates greed and corruption, when the opposite is really true. Capitalism needs virtue in which to exist, and greed is a condition of the heart, not capitalism. You have greed in socialism and capitalism. So these shifts in meaning highlight a broader trend where complex economic concepts are distilled into simpler, more emotionally resonant terms that align with individual experiences and political agendas. There's a benefit to simplified language that can help consumers understand and engage with economic issues, and yet oversimplifying nuanced concepts to the point of inaccuracy only fosters miscommunication and misunderstanding. So the next time you hear someone talking about inflation, I suggest asking yourself, or if you can, ask them, what definition are they using? Do they mean high prices, or are they referring to the CPI measure? Knowing the context will help you inform the conversation and elevate the accuracy and validity of their points, your points, and the conclusions. Thanks for listening.